So I'm not going to make a bunch of videos about this film, and all I can say is that if you haven't actually watched the film yet, Truly, Madly, Deeply, then just turn this off. There's really, you don't even have to watch this video. I mean, you just need to look at that film and think about it and enjoy it. And so I don't have a lot to say. I mean, I like talking about this film. I like talking about films with people, but it's obviously a film that is very pertinent to the philosophy of death, perspectives on death, because it's a film about grief. I mean, and it's really wonderful film about grief and about a kind of a fantasy, obviously. Again, watch the film. Don't watch this if you haven't seen the film. Kind of a fantasy about the dead and about somebody's fondest wish or desire really coming true. And the dead coming back and somebody getting exactly what they want, the impossible. And I don't have a lot to get. I don't have a lot to say about the film, obviously, except that I do think that it does strongly relate to the other materials that I've given you for this section. I believe I've given you two other things to look at. And I would encourage you to think about the film in relation to those things. Certainly Donald Gustafson's grief. This is kind of meant to be a kind of an embodiment of that, of somebody who truly desires the impossible, who wants the impossible, and is sort of stuck in this state of wanting exactly what she can't have, and her dead boyfriend back. And it obviously has some parallels with what C.S. Lewis was going through in real life, with the death of his wife, grieving for his wife. I think take the film for what it is. It's a delightful film. It's very well made. It's got great acting, and Juliet, what's her name? I don't remember her name actually. The woman who plays Nina is so good at portraying somebody who's going through grief, and that scene where she breaks down and begins to cry and rage in her therapist's office is pretty darn good. And that scene where he comes back, and she turns around and he's really there. She's been playing the piano with him. It's just really highly emotional. But then, the notion that she gets sick of him, and that's really why he came back, to show her that you can't have a relationship with a dead guy, that it just doesn't work, that it's always too cold for him, and he turns up the heat, and his annoying friends come over, and he's always sneezing, and she just, she still loves him, but it's time to move on, and she's realized that, and she chooses life, she's really dead in the beginning of the film, and various things happen to her, especially meeting this other guy, which sort of open her up to life again, and I don't know. I mean, it's just so. I always cry at the end of this film when I see Jamie in the window crying because he realizes that she's moved on, and that she doesn't need him anymore, and that's very difficult for him to take. So this is a great film, I think. I think it's a very enjoyable film, and if you haven't watched it, definitely watch it. And it's very easily related to the other materials that we're looking at in terms of living with the dead. That's really why I called this section "Living with the Dead," thinking of Nina and Jamie in their cozy little relationship between the living and the dead in her apartment. So I hope you enjoy this film.